Welcome back to the Violent Life Podcast. I'm Lucas O, MMA, and I'm back with my boy V. We are here. We're going to break down the fight night, Gamrot vs. Salkilld, and then we're going to get into Garry versus Islam Makachev. This previous fight night, I didn't have high expectations because we've gotten so much heat lately. I didn't think that we were going to be able to see more exciting fights. I just didn't think the probability was high for that. And I gotta say, man, this card was it was better than I expected. I thought there were some fun performances on here. There were certain fights that kind of were stinkers, but we got some fun fan favorite results here. Starting with Billy Ray Golf versus Ty Miller. V, who'd you have going into this?
I didn't know much about Ty Miller. I knew who Billy Ray Golf was. Um, I saw a lot of favoritism on the side of Ty Miller, so I kind of just thought, let me ride this out. And I was not disappointed in what I saw from Ty Miller. He looked like a welterweight Max Holloway out there. Very elusive, dynamic striker. Billy Ray Golf, he came out, looked very forceful for an early finish, tried to get takedowns and establish some grappling. And when that didn't work out, it was all downhill from there. I remember I was watching the live stats in round 2, and Ty Miller landed over 100 significant strikes just in that round, which is insane. That should set a record. I don't know if it did. But yeah, man, very impressed with Ty Miller. It was unfortunate that Billy Ray Golf's corner let him go out there for that third round, basically telling him just to run and not exchange. I don't know what kind of cornering advice that would be. But yeah, man, that was a great performance by Ty Miller, and I'm very excited to see where he goes from here.
Going into this one, I definitely saw all the favoritism towards Ty Miller, and I agreed with it. I actually expected this fight to go his way a little earlier. I was not expecting this. He had drawn out to round 3. So, I guess Billy Ray kind of proved me wrong a little bit on that. I thought he wasn't going to have much to offer, but he was able to somewhat defend himself for 2 rounds. And then Ty Miller got his shot in, and that was it. So great performance from Ty Miller. He was a big favorite in this. So, it was kind of a should have won situation. And that was a leg that I think everybody hit. But moving on, Amanda Lemos and Alexia Tanara. Man, I think I had made a joke on the last episode about this being the piss break. And I mean, I don't think I was wrong. I was not entertained during this fight. It's just another situation where you have one of these older fighters that can't perform to what they used to, and now just kind of becomes this I don't want to say blank slate, but just mid-level unresponsive fighter. And that's kind of what Lemos was. I didn't really feel like she had anything for Tanara, and Lemos has a lot of experience, so I was a little surprised by that. But overall, Tanara whooped ass. She got the unanimous decision, and Alexia Tanara got the win. V, how'd you see this going down?
Um, I a couple of years ago, it's been about 3 years now, but I used to be high on Amanda. But again, she's 39 years old, and Tainara is younger, hungrier, fresher. I'm just waiting for this chick to lose, to be honest. She's been winning in like the most rage baiting ways, and she got dropped in the second round. Lemos just doesn't have that killer instinct anymore. I think that dyeing her hair white was not one of the best decisions because Once you get it, once that third round started, because her hair was white, the blood just kind of trickled into her hair, dyed it red, and looked like there was more damage than there was. And all in all, my bet on this fight was over 1.5 rounds. That hit, so nothing too much else to say. It wasn't too much of a snoozer, but it was definitely a piss break if you wanted it to be.
Yeah. Moving on to Yadier Delval and Darren Elkins. Man, I love Darren Elkins, but not enough to pay attention to his whole retirement speech. I'm not gonna lie, bro. As soon as he got knocked out, I was like tuned out. I was like, all right, Elkins got slept again. You know, Yadier looked great. Came out, I thought every exchange he looked like he was the better fighter, which isn't really uh, a compliment. It's kind of that's just how it should be. You're fighting Darren Elkins. You know, this was eh, he could have retired at any point in the last 5 years, and I think it would have been the right move. Uh, so let's hope he stays retired and we don't see Darren Elkins' name popping up on a bare knuckle or a MVP card.
I felt, I'm not going to say I was sad. I was definitely sad with them giving him this matchup because I thought a guy 16 years in the company deserved a little bit more than this. 16 years in the company, has a winning record in the company. Um, to give him a guy who lost his last fight, one of his wins was the betting scandal situation. I thought they could have done a little bit better opponent. Maybe like the next fight. The next fight, I believe, is also a featherweight fight. Billy Q and Ferreira. We'll
Well,
go over that in
lightweight,
a
but
second.
yeah,
They could have given him one of those guys. Instead, they give him a up and comer, young, hungry dude. Gets slimed out within the first minute. I was actually watching this fight on the bus on the way home, and at this point, it was dark, and I had my brightness all the way on, and I had it pinned up on the seat in front of me. And my boy that was watching from behind, he's like, "How is this even before they even fought?" He's like, "How is this allowed?" And I'm like, really should be fucking illegal. And whoever put this fight together should go to federal fucking prison. And then that happened within the first fucking minute. And it's like, it's tough. It's tough because, Darren Elkins definitely deserved someone that he could at least not get slimed out by within the first minute. Um, but that's the name of the game. There's nothing you could really take away from Yadier Delval here. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. And if he didn't, then you could start saying he's a fraud. But he did
yeah,
exactly what he was supposed to do, and that was it. Great career for Darren Elkins, though. The damage. Hope he stays retired. Do not want to see him in anything other than maybe RAF. Outside of that, stay the fuck away. Stay retired.
yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. But as you mentioned, Diego Fajeda and Billy Quarantello, man, this is our co-main event. I thought this was wild that they would choose this as the co-main event because, yes, both guys are kind of loved, but at the same time, both guys coming off losses. Both guys have quite the amount of losses on their record and have been finished. Uh, I didn't really know how to expect. I didn't. I didn't expect how this one was gonna go. Uh, you know, Theron has been training with Billy Q for a bit, so I was kind of getting a little on the Billy side, and I almost put a little money on it, but I ended up backing off last minute. Uh, Diego Ferreira, man, he looked good against Billy. These guys are not top guys, uh, and to see this as a co-main, I thought was a little dumb by the UFC. Why was this our co-main? I mean,
I'll tell
You
you why
gotta,
there was not much on this card. There
yeah,
was not much on this card. That's what I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, there's really nobody you could have put in this position.
yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, maybe you give, yeah, your Duvall the co-main spot, but whatever. You know, Diego Ferreira whooped that ass for 3 rounds and got a 30-27 unanimous decision. Um, this is what? How many losses is this now for Billy Q? This is 3 in a row for Billy now. So I'm not sure what they're gonna be doing with him. I think he's got enough of a following where I think the UFC might give him one more match, but at this point, he needs to win. Otherwise, we might be seeing him in the new MVP PFL crossover.
I had no, I didn't, unfortunately, I didn't get to see this fight. This fight took place when we were on a bus stop, so I was basically chatting it up. The only thing I did have in this fight, which I was happy to come back and check, was I took the over 1.5 rounds, which I thought would be sweaty. Um, so when I came back and I saw that hit, I was like, all right, cool. Didn't really have much into whoever won that matchup because again, these guys are at the tail end of their career. It was kind of just a fight that they needed to fulfill a contract obligation. They just put it out there. I heard Diego looked good, especially being 42. He's had a long career with the UFC. Billy Q is a guy that I will always watch and tune into because he's a scrapper. Don't know how it went this fight, but I'll still always tune into Billy Q fighting. He's been in great fights his whole career. If I was gonna bet a money line prior, I would have probably have taken Billy Q, to be honest, just based off of MMA math, which MMA math clearly doesn't work. Billy Q knocked out Alexander Hernandez. Alexander knocked out Diego Ferreira in his last fight. Diego wins this fight. That's your basic MMA math right there, full circle.
Yep, that's the triangle. Always happens, man. But I'd say enough on that one. Whoops, accidentally muted my shit. On to our main event, man. Mateusz Gamrot and Quillen Salkilld. Going into this one, I was really rooting for Quillen, and I was really expecting Gamrot to win this. I had 2 parlays that were down to the last leg. Gamrot was the last leg, and I got so confident that I was going to win my money. So I was not expecting to be disappointed with a Quillen Salkilld win here, but I was. All love towards Quillen, all hate towards Gamrot. Fuck Gamrot. What a fucking performance from Quillen Salkilld, man. This is another prospect that had a test that I thought was going to be too much for them, and he pulled it off, man. He looked great on the feet. He looked great. He was able to defend the wrestling well and then implement his own wrestling and get the rear naked all first round. What a fan favorite victory.
For sure. It's beginning to feel like Gamrot is the gatekeeper of lightweight. The guys that could beat him surge to the top. The guys that can't beat him are bottom of the barrel in the division. I was picking Quinlan all week. In my mind, I'm like, Dan Hooker could do it. Quillen could do it. Um, and the thing is about Quillen, as everybody saw in this fight, is a lot of people just are quick to write him off that he's a striker, but he's a phenomenal grappler. And I felt like his range on the feet, the way he sets up his shots, Gamrot gets dropped in every fight. I didn't think Quillen was going to get a finish, to be honest. Even though I did bet under 4.5, I didn't think Quillen was going to get a finish. Um, I thought that he was just going to do enough damage in the rounds, have good transitions on the ground to win a decision. Again, Gamrot gets dropped every fight. I think he's been dropped 6 times or 7 times in his 14 fights. So I knew Quillen was going to do a little damage on the feet. I knew his grappling was good. My question was his cardio, how that would hold up in the later rounds against Gamrot. We didn't need to see it. It was over and done. He got submitted faster than even against Charles Oliveira. So great performance by Quillen. Kid's got a
Yeah,
bright
man.
future. Can't wait to see where he goes from here. My favorite Pakistani fighter, Gamrot Salkilld.
See, this for me, this is just it leaves so many questions. I didn't think Salkilld would be able to do this, and he did. So for me, what I have to wonder is, what is Quillen's ceiling? Like, are we gonna see him like I don't know, take on Charles? Like, are we gonna see him go against Armin at some point? Like, is he one of these guys that's gonna be giving problems to the top of the division? I don't think so. But then again, I didn't think so against Gamrot. I thought he looked kind of sloppy against Benil. That was not a great performance, and that heavily influenced my opinion going into this one. So I really don't know what Quillen's ceiling is, but I'm a fan, and I'd love to see him keep growing, keep winning, and make it as high as he can. I'm all here for it.
I would say the matchup I would like to see him up against next, which they're probably not going to do it because the UFC is going to wait out for that payday. But I think him against Max is a good fight.
That'd be really fun, very interesting. Uh, but I mean, and I just said it in the last episode. Is that too big of a jump for Quillen Salkilld? I don't know,
Nah,
man.
dog. Nah,
This
dog.
guy is.
I could see this kid being champion. I could see him beating everybody. That was a performance that makes you think this kid has what it takes to be a champion. Um, you got guys like Ilya, they have that one shot power, but what if they can't find that shot? That's when you start asking that. You got guys like Gagey on the tail end of their career. I think Quillen could work Gagey. You got Charles. I think if he could do as well as he did against Gamrot on the ground, I think he could avoid some transitions against Charles on the ground and on the feet. I think it's night and day on the feet. I think Quillen's way better on the feet against Charles. Against Holloway, he has the grappling. We saw what happened to Max a few months ago. Um, so I think this kid could absolutely become champion. The Armin matchup, that's a tricky matchup. Roofy, you know, that's really it. Patty, these are the guys you're going to talk about, and I think he could win all those fights right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had my way, I think the most entertaining, or I guess the closest fight you could make would definitely be Armin and Quillen. That would be, to me, such a fun matchup. I wouldn't know who to pick. Uh,
Well, they all
you
got
know,
one nightmare matchup coming. He's working his way up. He'll be there soon.
and who is that?
John Pork.
Chanko. Yes,
Chanko.
sir. He'll be there, man. He looked great in his last fight. But overall, this was a solid card. I mean, for in terms of spacing out cards before pay-per-views, this was this was entertaining. And just one last honorable mention. Honestly, I think should have been on the main card. I don't know how it wasn't. Steve Asplin, baby, gets it done again. You know, this guy, he was 500 pounds at one point, and now he's down to under the heavyweight limit. He's fighting and winning in the UFC. It's such a big deal, and so much personality to him. I really wasn't sure how he was going to do against Guilherme Pat, but he looked good. And Steve Asplin is back in the win column, and I can't wait to see him back again.
For sure. This was top to bottom. I had a good time watching it. You know, I didn't even know that there was a card this weekend until like the day before, and I'm like, oh shit, I got a 24-hour bus ride. I could actually watch a full card, and that's exactly what I did. You know, you hit that Ohio area, that bum ass fucking state, and the connection starts to fuck up a little bit. But I was entertained for about 8 hours of that bus ride, so it was a good card overall. It was a good card.
Yeah, man. It's you and I have talked about this little dilemma before of, would you rather have less cards, but the cards are more stacked, higher quality name value? Or would you rather have more cards with less name value and just excess of fights? Having access to consistent competition, and it's some people would rather see the higher stakes and don't care too much about seeing everything else play out. But for me, man, I've always wanted to see everything play out. I'll take any one of these little cards they want to give us
Well, and
over
that's
a
the other
weekend
thing,
without.
and that's the other thing is uh a lot of my personal opinion on why that should have been was the Apex, but after this weekend and seeing how renovated it is and there's more fans, it feels like there's life again. Like there's life in the Apex, and that's what I was missing when there were Apex cards. Was it just felt dull? Um, but the way they renovated it, it looks fantastic. I'll be excited to watch more Apex cards going forward.
Yeah, dude. And I don't know if you saw, I think Dana White was saying they're now doing tickets for Contender Series, and it's like tickets start at like $25 a piece. It was something like that. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
not bad at
man,
all,
yeah, I would go every week if I could. Absolutely.
for sure.
Um, but awesome, man. Well, moving on into our upcoming card, man. UFC 330. Ian Garry is fighting Islam Makachev. We got Mackenzie Dern taking on Jillian Robertson. And we have I don't even know how you would describe the undercard. Uh, a mid undercard. Um,
Listen, is it mid? Yes. Is it not the best? Yes. But if you live in the United States, you shouldn't. If you've been a fan for 5 years, 3 years, even fucking 2 years or longer, and you live in the United States, you should not really talk that much shit about this card strictly based off of the fact that this comes with your subscription to Paramount. You're not paying 80 fucking dollars a pay-per-view because people know there were days when you got fucking mid-ass fucking pay-per-view cards, like real bottom of the barrel pay-per-view cards, and you had to pay fucking $80 for that shit. This is fucking free with your subscription. So it's really not that bad. It could be a lot worse. If they were telling me to pay $80 for this, then I'll bitch about it. Then I'll be like, this isn't good. This isn't stacked. What are we doing? But the fact that I'm not paying for this and it's free, fine. It's fights. It's fucking fights. And we
yes,
got the
sir.
main event with high ass stakes. So
Absolutely, man. Well, starting off this main card, dude, we got Edson Barbosa taking on Esteban Ribovic. And, they're both coming off of losses. And, we were just talking about Gamrot. Ribovic got subbed by Gamrot in round 2 back in April. And Edson got slept in round 1 in December. You know, I love Edson Barbosa. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. I don't have any faith that he can have any success in this fight. I would love to see him prove me wrong, but despite Esteban getting subbed in his last one, I do think that the youth and the all the damage he hasn't taken is going to give him the advantage, and it's hard to not expect a first round knockout from Esteban. So, that's kind of the only way I see this fight playing out. Maybe Edson surprises us and kind of toughs it out, makes it the distance, and loses the decision. But my official pick, I'm going with Esteban Ribovic by first round knockout.
Yeah, it's tough. Edson, one of my all-time favorite fighters. He's been in so many wars, given us so many highlights. But Esteban is a man on his way up, and regardless of his last outcome, this guy brawls. This guy's another fan favorite in his own right. He's always there putting on great performances, and I think it's going to be another one here. I'm not so confident in saying first round knockout. I could see this going the distance with Ribovic putting on a showcase. I could see it being a war. Don't know if Edson still has that grit though. Um, but I'm gonna lean Ribovic very confidently. Method, not confident. I'll say knockout. But yeah, I think Esteban should take this.
If this fight goes the way that I think it's going to be a sad start to this main card. But hopefully, as the fights pick up, you get a little more excitement, which I'm definitely thinking the next fight. Mansur Abdul Malik against Dustin Stoltzfus. I think this is going to be a very exciting KO for Mansur Abdul Malik. Dustin Stoltzfus has been in the UFC for a bit. He's fought a lot of guys, and he's lost to so many of them. He's 16-8, horrible record. I think he's been knocked out twice. He's been knocked out twice. He's been submitted twice, and he's lost 4 decisions. Mansur Abdul Malik, he lost his last one, but he lost to Yusri Belgary, and I think Yusri is actually a really, really high level contender. A lot better than Dustin Stoltzfus. And, that's Mansur's only loss. I really don't see a way Dustin can win this except for like a fluke KO. So Mansur Abdul Malik should win this. I think the odds are basically unbettable on DraftKings. He's a pretty heavy favorite. But what do you think?
Yeah, Mansour, he's gonna do his thing here. Um, Dustin, not the best, not the best. Kind of got into the UFC off of a fluke. He's the guy to dislocate Joe Pyfer's shoulder in the Contender Series. So he has that win on his record. Um, but I'm gonna go Mansour pretty confidently here, probably first round. Um, first round sub or knockout.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think Dustin's going to be able to survive against a strong, younger uh, animal like Abdul Malik. I think Dustin's. I mean, he has 4 losses by finish, so he's no stranger to quitting. And I'm sure that Mansur Abdul Malik is fired up after his first loss. So I think this is going to be
Du-
a really bad night for Dustin.
Dustin did give us that one nice little highlight when he was fighting on Long Island that one time, if you remember. The crowd was going crazy because he just kept picking up the guy and slamming him
That was
against Dwight Grant.
okay. Uh, yeah, semi familiar, but not the most memorable fight I've seen. But moving on, we got Charles Energy Johnson taking on Jose Ochoa.
Jose Ochoa was winning this fight. Very confident in this. Knockout, sub, decision. Doesn't matter how he does it. He's winning this fight. Don't overthink it. I'm done with the energy test here. He's done. He's done. And that's it. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, I mean, Charles Johnson, he's really been this guy that loses a lot, and then when his career is on the fritz of ending, he gets this KO that kind of makes him relevant again. And, he knocked out Josh Van and he knocked out Lohner. But if you notice with both of those knockouts, he kind of caught them when they were really gassed, when they were really pouring it on him in both fights. And I don't think Charles Johnson's going to be able to find that moment against Jose Ochoa. I think Jose is going to be able to compose himself and land the shots that he needs to at least to win the decision, if not find the shot to put Charles Johnson down, which Charles has been knocked out before. He's been subbed before. I could totally see Ochoa getting a finish. But
Even though he is currently on, Charles Johnson is, he's currently on a win, lose, and he's coming off a loss. So maybe this is the next prospect he knocks out.
I don't know. I wouldn't expect that only because Joshua Van and Loner Kavanaugh were hot prospects. Jose Ochoa is definitely an interesting one, but we saw him lose to Loner Kavanaugh and we saw him lose to Asu Amabayev. He's 2-2 in the UFC with wins over Cody Durden and Clayton Carpenter. To me, the hype behind Jose Ochoa is not at the level of Van and Kavanaugh. So in my mind, it doesn't make sense. But you know what? The way MMA math works, this might be, like you said, this might be another contender check where he chins somebody who should beat him. But I don't see that happening, man. I really don't. I think
Who's your pick?
I think Jose Ochoa is going to make Charles Johnson sell more T-shirts outside of another stadium.
All right, there we go.
That's my official prediction. And for reference for anyone listening who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I ran into Charles Johnson selling Conor McGregor T-shirts out of the Prudential Center when he was signed with the UFC. So I'll never forget about that. But moving on to our co-main event, man, we got Mackenzie Dern fighting Jillian Robertson. This has been a long time coming for Jillian Robertson. She's been at this for so long, and I'm excited to see her get her shot, but I do think that Dern is going to be too dominant, and I think she's going to be able to just get the decision. She's had the experience of going against more aggressive fighters on the ground than Jillian. So I don't think Jillian's grappling, which is kind of her only strength, is going to be much of a problem for Dern.
Yeah, I think the only way Dern loses this is if she hasn't been training and she's just been throwing up ass shots the whole camp. I think she's better everywhere, to be honest. Everywhere, I think her wrestling's better, her grappling's better, her striking's better, and she's a lot. Jillian's tough. I'll give her that. So they're probably on the same par when it comes to toughness, but I think that Mackenzie should be winning. I don't even think Jillian deserves this shot. I'm still wondering where Wei Lee is, because that should have been the fight. I guess Wei Lee's too caught up in her cosplay right now. But, that should have been the fight to make. I got Mackenzie. Easy money here.
Yeah, agreed, man. And when you look at these guys, Jillian Robertson hasn't been finished since 2019 against Macy Barber. So she's very durable. And actually, Jessica Andrade was the last person to finish Mackenzie Dern, and that was in 2023. So as far as when this fight kind of ends, I'm thinking that this is almost guaranteed a decision. You know, Jessica Andrade has way more power than Jillian. I don't think we're going to see anything even hurt Mackenzie. So I don't really think we're going to have to worry about that. And I mean, I'm not sure what the odds are for the fight itself to go the distance, but I think if I looked, or if I remember correctly, Mackenzie Dern by decision right now is like a plus 195 or something like that. Um, but I don't see this finishing. And honestly, for the casual MMA fans, this is for sure the piss and maybe go hang out in the the garage fight. You know, this might be another lay and pray 25-minute boring fight.
Well, this is also two more tests of MMA math. I'm looking here. Jillian's last two wins are Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Lemos. Both of them have beaten Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah,
So, and
this is
Amanda Lemos beat Mackenzie in 2024. So
yeah
we
right.
will see. I'm
I
saying
think was
easy
that it?
money.
That's I think that might be it. No, that's not Mackenzie's. It's not her last win. Damn. But yeah, man, this is there's not much, not much more to say. I think yeah, Mackenzie Dern is gonna have her way with Jillian Robertson, and I think the U.S. is gonna beat Canada once again, and we're gonna keep that belt. Moving on to the big main event of this weekend, man. Islam Makachev versus Ian Garry. You know, this is very, very talked about right now. Ian Garry is the largest person we've seen Islam go up against. So the doubts are pretty strong right now in the MMA community of if Islam is going to be able to win another fight. V, how do you see this playing out, bro?
I see Garry giving those moments throughout the fight where you're like, is Ian Garry gonna upset Islam? Specifically on the feet. Um, Islam does well when he's the pressure striker, but when he gets backed up, that's where you saw in the fights with Volk, um, or the first fight with Volk, I should say, with Poirier. That's when he's there to be hit, and I think going up against a longer, lengthier striker, um, there's going to be those moments where you're like, oh shit. But I think when it gets to the ground, Islam is going to have his way. He's going to rack up that control time. I see it being a little bit more entertaining than Islam's last fight, and that's not hard to do. Um, but I think he's going to win a decision here. I think he's going to edge out a decision. I think there's going to be moments for Ian to have his little fucking whiny voice go on the mic and say, I did that to Islam and this and that, and shut the fuck up. I think Ian's going to be able to walk away here with a moral victory um, for surviving 5 rounds and having good moments against Islam. But I think and this isn't, I'm not betting Islam. I will not bet Islam because I'm not that confident in it. But I just have to give Islam that respect that he's going to go out there. He's going to find a way to win like he always does. Um, So I'm very excited to see how this plays out because I do think that this is one of the most dangerous fights he's had in his career. Islam being, especially considering this is at welterweight. He's fighting a bigger guy, um, a longer, lengthier guy, younger. Ian's younger, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, man. When when I was really trying to break this matchup down and make my official pick, the size of Ian Garry is definitely a big factor that came into my mind. And, when you think about how close Dustin made it with Islam, I do wonder if Ian's size is going to be able to give him the edge to get the win on this. But as you mentioned, you kind of got to give Islam his respect. He's made it this far. And, other than one mistake in one fight, he's looked like a god. And I think that with the way that Islam game plans, and I also think you factor that in with the ego and the skill set of Ian Garry, I believe that we're going to see Islam get Ian down, and I think Ian, unlike JDM, is going to be looking to get up and try and force some scrambles to get up. And I think Islam's going to be able to capitalize on one of those exchanges. And I think we're going to see Islam get a sub here, man. I think I would say somewhere between rounds 2 and 4. The middle 3 rounds, I think we're going to see Islam get a sub. Uh, and I think we're finally going to have Ian Garry shut up, or I don't know. He might lose and still talk shit like he did with Shavkat, but I'm I am confident that Islam and his team are going to do the right things necessary to win this fight. And as you said, do what's necessary to win the fight, man. This is it's always fun seeing Islam. He's probably he is right now the pound for pound best and the most unbeatable looking guy that we have on the roster right now. So I think it would be quite a bummer if Ian Garry is the one that beats Islam. I think that could do a lot of harm. I don't see many people being Ian Garry fans, and I would imagine if Ian gets the win, depending on how, they're going to find a matchup that will get Ian out of the belt pretty quickly.
Well, they would run that fight back with Protas, and then we'll see. We'll see if Protas can make some adjustments. I think, or Morales, because Morales is the backup fighter. But
well, I don't know if you saw Protas is saying that he met with Hunter or someone today, and that he's next. That's what he's saying.
I would hope so. I would hope so. One of those two guys, they both kind of. I mean, I would say Protas deserves it more. But if they give it to Morales, I won't be upset either. But I think they're both challenging, tough matchups for Islam. But this is a matchup where you got a guy that's kind of got the best attributes of both Protas and Morales outside of the one-shot power, to where Islam is going to grow when he after this fight. Islam's going to grow. He's going to game plan better for either of those guys. But I only see Islam only having one more fight after this. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires this weekend. I don't think he's going to, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, that could be, wow, that would be crazy. Imagine if Islam can finish Ian Garry and then he retires. I don't want to call it a hole, but just the opening in the division that would create, eliminating two of the top guys in such a stacked division would, I think that could lead to some really interesting play out. I wouldn't mind it, man. I wouldn't mind seeing Islam retire with a win over Ian. But then I guess my question for you is, if Ian Garry wins this fight, do you think Islam should get an immediate rematch?
Depends on how he wins. It depends on how he wins. Because if he goes out there and he starches Islam, or he puts on a fucking 5 round beating, it'll be kind of tough to argue. But if it's a close decision loss and Islam has moments, or if Islam gets caught late after doing well, then you could start talking immediate rematch. You could start talking fluke or robbery, this and that. But if Ian wins decisively, then no. Plus, at the end of the day, Islam only fights once a year. Islam
Yeah.
only fights once a year. He could get an immediate shot, but it'll be like Pantoja and Van type thing where the champion's gonna fight in the meantime before you get that shot. You might not have to fight again, and you'll get the shot when you come back, but the champion is gonna move on, and the champion's gonna fight somebody else in the meantime.
Yeah.
And who and
Yeah.
who knows if he'll still be holding that belt.
Oh, this is, yeah, man. I mean, out of every fight on this card, this is the highest stakes. This is the most interesting. The the questions at welterweight there's so many of them. So to finally get some answers to, I do feel like welterweight's a relatively slow moving division too. Uh, you know, Back when we had Kamaru, we saw Kamaru kind of lap everyone, and then we saw Leon get his little run, and then the Bilal, then JDM, and the belt's just passed hands so much. Now Islam has it, and I mean, this
He's
is
stalling out that division, is what he's doing.
not to I'll stop harping on it in a sec, but Islam has the opportunity here. I mean, if you don't consider him better than Khabib already, this is where he really solidifies it. He's already moved up.
Yeah. If you don't already, and if you don't already, you're fucking dumb. He is levels above Habib.
But legacy wise, man, this is
Legacy wise, legacy wise, fucking JDM, Poirier, Volkanovski twice, Charles. Those are better. Armin, those are better wins than fucking Khabib's last 3 wins.
where Dustin, Gaethje, and Con.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Listen,
But
Gaethje winning the belt really helped Khabib's legacy there. It really fucking did. It made
I imagine.
as I was saying it out loud, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's not so bad. But for a long stretch, about a long 6-year stretch, it was pretty clear that after the Volkanovski fights, and especially after the JDM fight, Islam had the better resume. I would still say he has the better resume, but after Gaethje won at the White House, it does kind of give it a conversation. But I would still say Islam is higher on the pound for pound list, or the higher on the all time list, I should say.
Agreed. Well, looking at all these fights on this card, man, I do feel like there's a lot of uncertainty in these fights, and especially in some of these matchups. As far as confidence goes, man, I would say, and I know we didn't touch too much on the prelims, but I think my most confident play on this card is, I think it's going to be Jalen Turner money line, which right now you can get on DraftKings for minus 162.
My most confident play, and I'm switching up from before, and that's only because when I was going through Mackenzie Dern's resume, I'm like, okay, you kind of can't be too confident in it. I'm gonna go Vicente Luque.
Vicente Luque taking on Tresean Gore. Both guys coming off of wins. Vicente's a plus 102 right now. This I think there's good value in it. When you parlay Jalen Turner and Vicente Luque, your parlay odds are plus 226. So when you bet
Mm.
$10, you will return 32.
And I'm not
Uh,
high. I'm not high in Jalen. I'm not high in Jalen. But that's your
yeah,
pick. That's your pick.
I just, I think when you look at who Jalen has fought, and Coway's performances, I mean, to me, I feel like the odds should be a bit uh, more in favor of Jalen. You know, Coway fought Harry Hardwick and Muhammad Yahya. Like, oh, and if you remember back a lifetime ago when you were high on Guram, you know, like, what, he had a decision loss to Mark DeCasey.
Hey, no,
Uh,
no, no Gurum hate here.
he beat Felipe Douglas. So when I look at Coway's resume, man, there's nothing on here that makes me believe he's gonna have anything for Jalen Turner. I think Jalen Turner's just on such a higher level. And when you look at Jalen's losses too, he lost to Ignacio Bahamondes, Moicano, Dan Hooker, Gamrot, uh, Favola, not the best look, but Vicente, not not a great look. But when you compare that to Coway's resume, Jalen's beaten. He beat Edson. He beat Bobby Green, Brad Riddell, Jamie Malarkey. He beat Uros Medic, Josh Kulaba. Like, he's got a lot better wins on his resume, and he's still coming off a win. So
I
I
just
think
think it's.
Jalen's yeah.
I just think Jalen has always kind of been that guy when it starts not to go right for him. He finds a way to get out of it. You know, the Bahamondes fight was only a year ago, and that was bad. That was a bad look. The Moicano fight, bad look. You know, the Dan Hooker fight, bad look. Like, it's. I think Kawe is a tough motherfucker. I don't see him just getting slept what was his name? Barbosa in the last fight. I think Barbosa's on his way out. I think it was a favorable matchup. Kawe's got some nasty calf kicks, and I think it's gonna work in his favor here against Jalen Turner. The Mark Jacasey loss isn't a good look, but again, we'll see. We'll see. I'm picking Kawe. I'm picking Kawe Fernandez in that fight. Um, but hey, if the parlay hits, the parlay hits. Who cares?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll
I
tail
mean,
it.
yeah, this is it's a hard card to make picks on, and really profit off of. Uh, I don't. Yeah, there's not much else on here. I'm just seeing now they have the Chidi Njokuani and Joel Alvarez. Alvarez is a minus 285 right now.
Ooh, for anybody out there, hammer those lines because those lines are probably going to close at like -5, -600. So you're getting money right now if you want to take those lines.
I'm just looking to see, man. Is there anything you're thinking maybe we juice up this parlay a little?
I mean,
We
the
got
-245 for Alvarez is pretty spicy.
285, but yeah. And when you do that, that turns the parlay to plus 341. So
Yeah,
$10 will pay out 44. I like that. I like that a lot.
$100 will pay you $344.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna make profit almost 350 off of this. I'm liking this. We'll take Jalen Turner, Vicente Luque, Joel Alvarez.
I'm looking here on the Tapology picks.
How does
Uh,
Tapology see this going down?
Makachev Garry 79% is on Makachev. 77% is on Dern. 70% is on Ochoa. 95% is on Abdul Malik. 93% is on Ribovic. 96% is on Alvarez. 66% is on Turner. 82% is on Dante Johnson. 70% is on Luque.
Wow.
80,
Wow. And you can get
86%
Vicente as an underdog right now.
as an
Fucking
underdog.
hammer that shit.
86% is on Fernando. 68% is on Magny. And
what?
99% is on Orbai.
Well, Magny's another one, man. Plus 105. You can get him for plus money. If you parlay, say you parlay Vicente and Neil Magny, the old Unk parlay, that gives you plus 314 right there. So it's almost the same exact odds as the Violent Life parlay. So just some props to keep an eye out on, man. I'm not expecting this to be the best card of the year, but I'm definitely hoping we have some interesting topics to talk about come Monday.
And 54% of the 79% pick on Makachev have him by decision. 81% of the 77% is picking Mackenzie Dern by decision.
Wow. So another way to maybe profit here is parlay both winners by decision. Islam by decision and Dern by decision. Let's see. You will make that is total odds of plus 448. So that's $10 to win 54.
That's good. That's good odds.
Yeah, man. So it's interesting because with this card, nobody is really too much of a 50-50 pick. I feel like it's all pretty heavy picks against underdogs here. So it'll be interesting seeing which underdogs can get the upset.
Hell yeah.
But also, man, I'm looking forward to getting the results of this, seeing how everything plays out. Tonight we got Contender Series starting back up again, which will be very fun. I've been missing it. Nothing like some Tuesday night fights to kick the week off. So I'm very much looking forward to all the upcoming fights, and we will see what the UFC looks like come Monday morning. Thank you so much for listening, and please like, subscribe, and check in with us to see how everything goes. Peace.